So for the number talk, I wanted to actually go over two of these strategies here, and I think the ones that are kind of my favorite are, the old reliable. This is what I grew up on. The algorithm. Pay no attention to how I spelled the algorithm. That was bad and terrible. But this is, what we were taught back in the day, and it's just number stacking, right? You're putting things into different columns. This represents your ones. This represents your tens. And as you split this down, you say 26 is your problem here. 26 plus 7 plus 7, and then you work these individually. So 6 plus 7 is going to give us 13, right? We know that if we add these together. So 6 plus 7 gives us 13, but we can't put 13 here. If we put a 1 here, we're going to end up with 313 or something that's going to be really weird. And a lot of kids make that mistake into something that, if you do it, you just have to learn the right way or learn a way to do it. There's no right way, technically, when you think about it. But 6 plus 7 gives us 13. So the 3 is the part of this that still fits in this column because it's the ones column of this number, right? This is the ones, this is the tens. So 13 here becomes a 3 in this column. And then we have this 1 we have to deposit somewhere. So what we do is we go all the way up here and we drop it into the next column because this is where the tens go, right? So your tens go over into that second column there. Since we have the 1, which represents 10, goes into that column. If we kept going, if this had been a bigger number and let's say somehow there was 11 or something like there with the next set of numbers that you added up to, well, then this would be 113. You'd put, one number here and then you'd move the other number over to the other column, right? But we don't have that problem. That's not something we have to worry about. So here we started out with a 2, and 7 didn't have anything in the tens column. But once we add the 6 and 7 together, they create something that overflows into this column. So we end up with a 2 and a 1. We add those together, we get 3. And we just look at what we have written down here, 33. This matches both of the numbers that we get as individual sums with the carryover method. So that's one way. The other way that I like doing, and I had a student actually a couple of years ago teach me how to do this one, and I don't know the name for it. I'm not sure what it's called, so I can't label it here. But this is a really cool method, and I've kind of stuck with this since it was taught to me, is look for a way to make the numbers manageable, right? So we have 26 and we have 4. And we're going to end up with 30, right? What we're doing is we're trying to take this number 26, it's a little unwieldy, and we're trying to make it into something that our brain works with a little bit better, right? Our brain likes 5s, our brain likes 10s, our brain likes even numbers, 2, 4, 6, 8, right? So what we want to do is find a way to make these numbers more manageable. 6s and 7s are kind of wonky in our brain. They don't play really nice, but we know how to turn them into something manageable. And like I said, with this 26, we add 4 to it and we end up with 30. So this becomes a lot easier for our brain to work with. Then for 7, the closest thing that we can do to make that a more manageable number is turn it into a 10, right? So we just add 3. So what we do is we're keeping track of kind of a balance, right? We've loaned out a 4 and a 3, right? These numbers right here, they were a little short on pocket money, so we gave them a little bit extra so they could get into the ends in 0 ball, right? They could buy their tickets. So we have a 30 and a 10 here, but we're still owed these numbers back, right? We lent them out, and now we need to get them back. So once we come up with our numbers here originally, we add these up together, right? The 26 plus 4 became a 30, the 7 plus 3 became a 10. This is easy. 30 plus 10 is basically just 3 plus 1 with a 0 tacked onto the end, so we end up with 40. That's easy, but that's not our total number, because remember, we're still owed that 7, right? We need to get that back. So what we do is we bring this down as our balance there, as our 7, and then we just subtract them from what we had, right? So we ended up at 40, we take 7 away from that, and we count backwards, and we end up at 33. I think that's a really cool way to do it.